Hey guys, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nick and I'm the student ministry leader here at Hope. Let's start with events that we have for you this week. On Thursdays, we have a live Zoom, one for boys and one for girls at 8 p.m. Right after that, we all hop on Fortnite and play together for about an hour. On Fridays, we have the landing at 7 and it ends around 9. The landing is here to help you guys process life and the struggles that accompany it, to provide you with the tools to live emotionally and spiritually healthy lives, and to point you towards the freedom found in Jesus Christ. Have you ever felt thankful that one of your friends gave you a heads up, even if it was awkward for them? It was uncomfortable at the time, but ultimately you knew that they said it because they were looking out for you. Something like, yo, you got some food in your teeth. Or hey bro, your fly's down. Or you have ketchup on your forehead and I'm not sure how you got it there, but it's me just looking out for you. Or the person you're talking about right now is behind you, like literally right behind you. We've all had these moments. No one likes hearing that they have food on their shirt or toilet paper stuck to the bottom of their shoe, but when someone cares enough about us to look out for us and save us from future embarrassment, we're definitely grateful. Now, let's think about this from the other side for a second. Have you ever felt like you should really say something to someone else, but you weren't sure how to go about saying it? Think about it. Telling your friend they have food on their face is one thing, but we all know there's bigger stuff too. On the other hand, talking to a friend about a relationship that you don't think is good for them. Confronting someone about decisions they're making lately that aren't the greatest. Speaking up about something that you know is going to get them in trouble. Well, those feel completely different. Speaking up in situations like this is beyond difficult. Like if your brother or sister started hanging out with people who convince them to do things that aren't right. What are you supposed to say? If your best friend is making decisions that their parents wouldn't be okay with, is it really your place to say something about it? So we usually just avoid these conversations altogether, don't we? But why? We don't want to ruin friendships or make someone mad. But maybe we're doing or have done the same things in the past, so we don't feel like we have the right to say anything. Maybe we don't think the other person will listen to us. Maybe we just don't know what to say or how to say it. For some of you, the situation is the opposite. You have no problem telling people exactly how you see it. You're not shy about speaking up at all. The problem with that though, is that you may not always be speaking up in a way that causes people to want to listen. If you've ever wrestled with any of this stuff, the good news is that you're not alone. We've all been there. We all know what it feels like to know what we need to say, yet find ourselves unsure of how to say it. What if we could learn a way to approach difficult conversations? What if there was a way to be helpful and kind of choose when to speak up? What if there was a way to have a difficult conversation that ends bringing up something good? Here's the thing, no one wants to be known as a hater. Nobody wants to be seen as I'm so amazing and I'm the best friend that talks about everyone and helps them when they're wrong. Instead, we want our reputation to stand out for the right reasons, for how we love and treat each other. So when it comes to being a friend who looks out for others, how do we make sure we handle it in the right way? Well, last time we met, we talked about how we should be all about love. Who wouldn't want to have a reputation for loving others? No matter how tough we want to appear or how trendy hating on others is, we all know better. But if love is the goal, then how are we supposed to handle it when somebody is literally doing something bad or even dangerous or just plain dumb? maybe we should just avoid them. This seems to be the way we're supposed to behave. We're all just supposed to be okay with everybody and everyone else's choices because it's their life, and who are we to judge? I think deep down, we all know that isn't always the case, especially when it comes to the people closest to us. What do we do then? Paul actually talked about this very thing in a letter to a church in a region called Galatia, where modern day Turkey is now. Paul gave a great insight on this topic. Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back into their right path. But be careful that you may not be tempted yourself. Paul is saying that if Galatians have any friends who share the same values but slip up and do something that is harmful, their responsibility is to help that person get back on their feet and on the right track. In other words, he's saying to you and I should actually go further than just saying something in a conversation. We should help someone get back on the best place that they can be. On track with God says it's best. Now there's a lot Paul isn't saying here too. He isn't saying that you are personally responsible for making sure your friends make wise choices. And he isn't saying you should put yourself in a position that sets you up for failure when you're trying to help your friends. Wisdom in these conversations and situations is a must. The point is, according to Paul, with humility and gentleness, you and I can help people who are struggling with making poor decisions to help them get back on the right path. Paul continues with share each other's burdens and in this way obey the law of Christ. So how do we help them get back on track? By carrying each other's burdens. Think about it this way. In a world of fitness training, there's a person known as a spotter. A spotter is there to help you when the weight gets too heavy and the person is doing the lifting and that person is no longer able to lift that weight on their own. When that happens, the spotter carries the weight too. They carry the burden of the barbell along with the person doing the lifting. That is what we're supposed to do. Help people get back on the right path. Paul cared deeply about the people of Galatia, which is why he wrote what he did. He knew that the most loving thing to do isn't always the easiest thing, but we owe it to each other to speak up, because the truth is, we need each other, not just to point out where others may have gotten off track, but to come alongside them and help them carry the burden of getting back to the place that they should be. In other words, Jesus' followers must do more than just speak up and point out what's wrong. We must make ourselves available to be spotters in the lives of others, to help make right where things have gone wrong. We don't just point fingers, we share burdens. Again, some of us are like, I'm not afraid to speak up. I don't care what people think. For those of us who feel that way, Paul snuck in 2 words that would be helpful to keep in mind when it comes to having these conversations. He said we should be gentle and humble, meaning what we say is just as important as how we say it. The loving act is not to just sound judgmental or arrogant. Being kind, helpful, and encouraging shows people that we want to help them out of love. Hard conversations aren't easy, but avoiding a hard conversation isn't loving either. And enjoying a hard conversation by making someone look and feel terrible over what they've done isn't loving either. In fact, the conversation isn't really the point. The point is learning to ask the question, am I showing love? Am I treating this person correctly? Love pushes us to talk about difficult things, and love pushes us to talk about the difficult things in a kind, compassionate way. Because that's what love does. It shares the burden by caring about the person who's carrying it, and not just about ourselves. So what is this supposed to look like? How can you begin to put this into practice this week? Some of you might be thinking about a friend who needs to have a conversation right now. They might be sitting next to you, or they might be in your first class tomorrow morning in your Zoom. What should you do? Well, if you're gonna choose to be known for your love for others, then when it comes to what you say and how you help others, remember this. Let love be your filter. You already know how filters work. Choose a filter on Snapchat or Instagram, and no matter where you look, it changes what you see. The same is true for choosing love as a filter. No matter where you look, no matter who is in your camera, you see them differently. You won't be known for love if the way you handle hard conversations and treat others is not loving. So when it comes to helping friends who are headed in an unhealthy direction, you can become known for love by filtering your words and actions through love. So when we help someone make a different choice than the ones that they've been making, we do it even if it makes us feel totally awkward in that moment. When we encourage someone else, it changes his or her behavior. We need to do it in a loving way, not a judgmental way. When we see someone take a step in the right direction, we should encourage and celebrate them. Why? Because we love them, and that's what love does. So, what exactly should a filter of love be applied to? Here's a few ideas. Let love be your filter for your involvement. When you aren't sure if you should get involved in a friend situation, ask yourself, what's the most loving thing that I can do? Use this question as a filter for your next step. This provides a gut check for your motives and reminds you that they should be rooted in love. If the loving thing to do is to get involved and help someone get back on the right path, then you'll know how to take the next step. And this can be tricky, so don't hesitate to ask your small group leader, parents, or a trusted adult. Once you're sure the most loving thing to do is to get involved, here's the next step. Let love be the filter for your words. Ask yourself, how would I want someone to speak to me? And what would I want him or her to say? When you're filtering your words through love, you'll stop and make sure you're not just throwing shade. This isn't about making you look right and them wrong. Instead, you'll be letting them know that you're here to carry their burdens with them. Your words can spark hope or cast judgment. If you filter them through love, they'll be words that can help get someone else's life back on track. Once you have a word filter in place, here's the next step. Let love be the filter for your actions and reactions. If we have friends that are having a hard time keeping their lives headed in the right direction, chances are they won't just need your words. They're gonna need your help. You have to choose to filter your actions through love. Just like you would your words, you ask yourself, would I want someone to live out their love if I were in this situation? And sometimes these situations can be tempting. Would you want them to pick you up or call a ride if you were at an unhealthy party? Would you want them to tell an adult or a professional because the help you need goes beyond that? Would you want them to say hard things and follow those words up with accountability and continuous conversations to help them stay on track, no matter what the situation is? So you'll wind up being known for the way that you love others, and you'll live out Paul's call for help to share the burdens with other people. When we let love be our filter, we wind up sharing the burdens of those we love. Imagine how our schools, our friendships, and our families would be different if there were more people filtering their involvement, their words, and their actions through love. We would say hard things to one another, not out of judgment or hate, but out of love. We would help keep each other from regrets, mistakes, and unnecessary heartbreak or negativity. Who knows? A filter of love might just change the direction of someone else's life for the better, forever. Let's be people who let love be our filter so that we can help those we love stay headed in the best direction for their lives.